Hi, this is Mike Kaler, Customer Service Manager for CE Labs. In today's tech tip, we're going to discuss setting up a schedule inside of QuickSign Pro Designer. I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is to set up your own schedule and get it operating in your environment. So let's get started. To set a schedule in the player, we'll first want to load QuickSign Pro Designer 7X. Then we'll want to switch over to the Scheduling tab. From here, we'll add a new schedule. We'll give the schedule a name. I'm going to call mine Menu. And then we'll want to select a default playlist and a default layout. These are what will be running normally when when you have a scheduled item that's not playing. This is the default. And I'm going to say breakfast is my default. Once you have your default layout and playlist selected, you're going to want to add scheduled items to interrupt those defaults with whatever you want to schedule. So let's say in this case I'd like to interrupt breakfast with lunch. Okay, if I just set a date here, this is the end date. So let's say like 2020 for the year. Okay, that's going to tell it basically to run forever. I could also tell it run for 1 week, run for 30 days, run to the end of the month, or I can manually put in a date and a time that I would like for it to run to. This, if I just save this as is, lunch would replace breakfast 24 hours a day for this many days. If I want to take that a step further, and let's say lunch only interrupts it for a certain time period, I would do enable daily schedule, and then I can tell it weekdays, maybe I want it to just run on the weekends, or I want it to run weekdays and weekends. I can set it for all day, I can set it for 8 to 5, or I can go down here and I can take the slider and I can set it for a certain time period. So for lunch, let's say we like it to run at 11 o'clock. So I get it over here pretty close, and then I can use my keyboard to arrow keys to zoom it in and get it right on the money. So let's say I want it to run till 3 o'clock, so I'll get that close and I'll use my arrow keys. And then I'm going to do add start time, add stop time. And you can see that it populated the fields. I can also click on these fields and edit it manually if I want to do it that way. Then I'll click OK, and that'll save lunch. And I can see that it's Sunday through Saturday. It starts on 3/11/2014 and ends at 3/11/2020. So that takes care of lunch. Let's go and let's add another one. Let's do exactly the same thing, and let's do it for dinner. So once again, I go to my layout, I pull down dinner, I change the stop date, and this is very important that you always type that in, because otherwise the very next day after creating this schedule, it won't work anymore. So set your stop date to something well into the future. I'm going to enable my daily schedule. And let's say I want dinner to run at the end of lunch, so we're going to make it run starting around 3 o'clock. And arrow over. And we want that to run till the restaurant closes, let's say at 9 o'clock in the evening. And I'm going to add those start and stop dates. And I'm going to click OK. Now I can see both of these scheduled items in my schedule menu. And I'm going to take and save that. Next, I'm going to go to my players, and normally you would be under the menu called player control, and you would load play to load a playlist. In this case, with the schedule, we want to go to the schedule tab, pull down our schedule that we have selected, hit load schedule, and that'll load it just like loading a standard playlist. When using scheduling, you're always going to want to make sure your clock is set properly. We can do that a couple of ways. One, if you go to Tools and you do Set Player Time, you can set the time manually, or you can set it with a computer, in your local computer that you're running now. You can hit Set Player Time, and that'll set the time on the player, and you can read it back just by hitting read player time, and it should show up here. If I close this and I go over to my tools and go to basic controls, here I can set a time zone, and then I hit set, and then I can type in a primary and secondary time server so that the player goes out to the internet and gets its time, and it keeps things up to date and totally in sync. I use 0.pool.ntp.org and secondary as 1.pool.ntp.org. There are hundreds of thousands of time servers available on the internet, and you're free to use whatever one you would like. Just remember that after you set each one, always hit the set button to set those in the player, and then you can use the get button to read it back to make sure that it is set properly. Once this is done, go ahead and hit the exit button, and you're ready to run your schedules. We do appreciate your business at CE Labs, and we thank you for using our products. Hopefully this video has cleared up some questions you may have had concerning scheduling. If you still have questions or concerns, please give our customer service department a call at 800-767-6189, and we'll be glad to go through any problems that you may have. Thank you.